Batman, Superman, World's Finest, issue 18, Mark Waid writing with Travis Moore on the art. So, this is wrapping up the two-parter of like the first Batman and Superman team-up story. Jack Sewer's out of the Phantom Zone, he's trapped Batman, so we get a lot of Superman and Jack Sewer fighting, we get a lot of Batman in the Phantom Zone talking to Alfred, who'd already been put in there last issue. And yeah, I think this looks really great. I think the art's really strong. There's some really fun stuff. I would say that my favorite part of it is when Superman's like communicating with Batman and telling him who Jack Sewer is and what he did. I think we even talked last issue about like we weren't sure if this continuity had the whole Krypton ban space travel thing, but this issue clarifies no, they absolutely did, and it was always kind of frowned upon, but Jack Sewer trying to build a ship and accidentally killing 10,000 Kryptonians on their moon is what like Ironclad said, that's it, we're done, this is outlawed. And what I like about that is Superman says he holds Jack Sewer partly responsible for the death of Krypton, and what I like about that is that he's not saying, oh, Jack Sewer's responsible in any way for the planet exploding, because I hate when someone's behind that, but what he's saying is that we could have evacuated possibly thousands or millions of people if he hadn't like set the path of like, no, the tolerance on space travel is just done because of what he did.
It wouldn't have been just Kal and Kara that make it off as Krypton's coming to an end. We could have had a whole colony, right, of Kryptonians at one point.
Yeah, and
which is a nice little subtle layer to the mythos.
Yeah, I like that, and this is obviously pre-Kara landing, because when he goes after other Kryptonians, it's actually the bottled city of Kandor that he tries to melt with his heat vision because he doesn't like. Well,
it's almost like the Phantom Zone has driven him mad.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like, honestly, the biggest thing here is obviously they eventually, get rid of him. They throw him back in the Phantom Zone or whatever. They trick him. Batman like takes the Phantom Zone projector once he's back out into the fortress, and he puts the tech into the floor, so it's not actually in the projector itself, and then that tricks him, and Jack Sewer goes back to the Phantom Zone. But there's a big splash page of like the statue of his parents, Superman's parents crumbling. Yeah, that's good stuff. It's all just really fun.
I like too that at the end here, after they get Jack Sewer back in the Phantom Zone, Superman's like, I didn't know how much I could do the rope-a-dope much longer, right? So he was letting Jack Sewer, think that he was getting the upper hand. But he still agrees, like Batman's like, yeah, but you still need to learn how to fight, man. Just in case, like, you come across somebody. So I like that Batman's kind of the person that's kind of like...
Yeah, it's kind of training for Zod in a way, because that's always the argument, is that Superman's had his powers at least since puberty, and like he's never had to learn how to properly fight tactically, because he's never had, like, he's always had this upper hand, that just by his strength and stuff. So it's like, no, you have to learn how to actually fight and like be able to dodge and take hits and know your limits and things like that. So yeah, that all makes sense. So obviously they capture the Riddler, who has been used as a puppet, and all the rest of it. But the big thing at the end of this show, which I was not expecting, is they tease that basically there was these little fluctuations in the Phantom Zone walls, these little portals that were opening, which is how Jack Sewer was able to do all this stuff.
Right.
And it turns out that some mysterious hooded figure with a device was in the Phantom Zone causing these little ripples, and then he disappears during the course of the issue, and that's when the ripples stop. So they deduced that it was probably him that was causing them. So who is he, and what did he want? Like, what's he up to? And I was surprised when we get to the end and we get this little epilogue of this figure saying, that this place is horrible. This Phantom Zone's a purgatory, and someday they'll all be released. It says to be continued in Action Comics in 2024. I was not expecting this to be setting up something for the Action Comics book.
No,
assuming it's still Johnson writing that book when this story comes up. I don't know if it will be, but interesting.
The clothing seems like... It seems familiar, but I can't put my finger on it. Yeah. And I don't know if it's because this guy's giving me Time Trapper vibes from the Legion. Who wore like a purple hooded cloak that you couldn't see his face.
Yeah, this is green and white stripes with like a gold cape, effectively.
Yeah. like a gold cape, and he's holding like this orb type thing that's kind of like metal, like spun into each other, so it creates almost like a metal type ball thing. But he says his name is Aether the Messiah, and yeah, I don't know.
No.
There's some.
Oh no,
says,
sorry. I was going to say no. He says I, not Aether the Messiah, but no, he says not I, not Aether the Messiah. So you're right. Yeah, that's his name.
And so yeah, and he doesn't like the idea of the Phantom Zone. So whoever this guy is, right? And he's creepy, man. He feels like a phantom, and not like in the Phantom Zone way, but just like. So yeah, props to Waid for adding a bit of creepiness.
Yeah, it's just interesting that they've obviously got some things mapped out, that they're seeding something in a 2-part backstory, setting up like the first time Superman and Batman met, that there's a seed in there for an Action Comics storyline coming next year. I just think that's interesting. I wonder if it is still Johnson or whoever's planned to be writing it when that time comes, then have they worked with Waid here? Is it Waid himself taking a bit of time on Action next year? I don't know, but it's curious. Next time on this book, we're doing some Kingdom Come stuff, so
yeah,
we'll
back to Boy Thunder and the boy who would be Magog.
Yeah, he's just Magog now, right? Or Magog. So, is it Magog or Magog?
I don't know. I think we could say either or, because I've never heard it I've never heard it. I've only read it.
Okay.
So
I'll say Majog.
Majog.
No.
It's a hard G.
Majog.
Like Jif.
Majog. It's not Jeff, it's Gif. Shut your mouth.
No, it's GIF. But some people say it's actually GIF because it's graphical. Right? That's what the G's short for.
Graphic starts with a hard G.
Right? Right. I say GIF too, but some people say GIF. I'm just saying.
And they're wrong. All of them.
Right. Majog.
All right. Well, I was going to say something. The art's pretty solid. It's just nice, and it's got the flatness, it's got the Silver Age look to it. Nice big bold colors. I mean, honestly, I feel bad for it because it's really good art, but like this week there's a lot of good art, so it's kind of paling in comparison a little bit. But it really fits. Spoiled. It fits the old school vibe the book's going for sure. There's some good action layouts. There's a lot of like. Superman and Jax-Ur like hitting each other through the sky, and when they're in the fortress hitting into the statues and all that. It's quite good. So I particularly like when Jax-Ur's kneeing Superman in the face, you can see Superman's like cheek sort of like bunched up as it's hitting him. It's a nice little detail.
Full on V trigger there.
This is a V trigger, you're right. All right, what are you rating World's Finest, Matt?
I'm gonna give it 7.5.
Yeah, I think 7.5 sounds right to me. I'll agree with that.